So with only a couple days left in Honkai Star Rail's final closed beta, I did manage to hit level 60 on my account, which unlocks the ability to get my characters to level 80, which is the max level, and also, gives me an entry into what the end game could possibly look like. At some of the content in the game, I am into the hardest difficulties, and some they do have one more difficulty once I hit Trailblazer level 65, which unfortunately I won't be able to do due to the beta ending. But I wanted to have a discussion about the end game inside the game, give you guys my thoughts, how it's looking, and what I just generally think about it. So when we look at endgame, like I said, I have hit level 60 now. I haven't been doing too much leveling of characters. If we go over here, you can see that I did go ahead and make Dan level 80 just so I could have a level 80 character. But because I knew that we didn't have too much longer left, I wasn't going to level many characters because I wanted to farm some gear and get an idea of the drop rates on some gear. So the main things we're going to look at for endgame is going to be gear farming and gear drop rates, which I'll jump into in a sec. We're going to look at the simulated universe, and then the big one, which is the chaos memory, which is sort of like your abyss in Genshin. I never played Genshin, so apologies if I get that wrong, but that's what everyone tells me. So it's like your tower mode that resets every 2 weeks, and you want to push through it. Now that is bloody hard. We'll get to that in a minute. But the first thing I want to look at is gear farming. So if we go over here and we take a look at what we can farm for gear, and we go to the Cavern of Corrosions. So there's all the different gear sets that you can farm. Now, I'm not going to tell you in future videos, I'll do guides on what I think you should farm and what I'm farming personally, but in general, I just want to jump over and show you what I've unlocked and show you that there is one difficulty further. So you can see over on the left-hand side here, I've unlocked difficulty 5, but difficulty 6 is a thing. So what happens, I've been gathering some data on difficulty 5, and so far from the runs I've done, I've had 11 runs where I've gotten 2 drops of 5-star gear. So 2 pieces of 5-star gear. And then I've had 9 runs where I've gotten 1 drop of 5-star gear. So that's what I've been trying to use my stamina on to get some numbers. So roughly looking like a 50-50 drop rate on this difficulty 5. On difficulty 4, you have a just guaranteed single 5-star piece drop, and that's it. And then on level 3, you have a chance at a 5-star. So it just gradually goes up. So my assumption would be over here, once we get into difficulty 6, probably, if I had to guess, it's going to be guaranteeing 2 5-star drops every run. Now, when we look at stamina, you get 1 stamina every 60 minutes, every 6 minutes, I believe. Sorry. Is what I believe it works out to. Yeah, 1 every 6 minutes, which makes it 10 every hour, 24 hours, 240 total stamina per day that you can get. When these take 40 per run, that gives you 6 runs per day. And when we look at endgame being level 6, if you're using all your stamina on farming gear in a day, your free stamina, you're looking at about 12 pieces of gear per day. Rough, like that's base math that I'm looking at there. Now, obviously, when you get to endgame, we'll have a look at the next thing. So that's sort of your gear drop rates and the sort of income of gear you can look at. When we look at the next thing in the endgame, it's going to be upgrading your characters. Now, there's a lot of things that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to ascend them. Once you get here, these start taking a long time to farm. You're normally getting maybe 6 of these per run through, per 6 run. You're going to burn a lot of stamina ascending all your characters. Now, past that, you've also got all of your light cones that you're going to have to upgrade, which is your weapons, which once again, these are going to use a lot of resources. These things take a long time to farm, and you're going to burn a lot of stamina. So once you get into the end game, it's going to be chopping between gear and doing this stuff. But keep in mind, before you hit the Trailblazer level 60, you're probably going to be farming some gear as well, farming some of these, and it's just a split to try and level out your account as you go. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of farming, a lot of waiting will happen once you start hitting this phase of the game. In the early game, it progresses pretty quick, but yeah, once you get into this stage, I haven't even bothered level 80ing any of my light cones just because I couldn't be bothered spending the time farming when the beta was ending. But that's going to be a big thing. Then we jump over into traces, and when you start looking at some of these later traces, they start getting pretty expensive on the resources that you need. And I think traces are going to be one that you pick and choose specifically what you want, depending if it's your main character, what stats are more valuable on them. For instance, if we look at something like March 7th, you know, you're going to really like these defense increases to focus on, not so much effect resistance, because if we look at all this ice damage, we're not too stressed. She just wants to get all these defense ones, because when you get those defense ups, it's going to increase her shielding and stuff like that. Same with the fire main character and stuff like that. So I think these will be pick and choose, because they do become super expensive and you will end up wanting to farm more relics instead of just maxing out everything on every character. But these will definitely become a clutch where you're going to start, once again, spending a lot of time and a lot of time waiting for stamina to refill to go ahead and get those. But that's pretty much what farming is going to look like in the end game. Slowly leveling your characters, slowly upgrading your light cones, your traces, but then also farming that gear. Like I said, in the end game, I'm anticipating off free stamina that you get every day to be about 12 pieces of gear per day, free to play, no stamina refills or anything like that. But like I said, early days when you get there, you will be spending a lot of time upgrading your characters. Now, how many characters are you going to want to upgrade? You're probably looking at a minimum of 8 to 10 characters that you will upgrade, just because when we get into the chaos memory, which we'll jump over to now, it's going to be, you're going to need at least 8 characters to fill the 2 teams. So you're definitely going to need that. But before we jump over there, I do want to just jump over to this one first, which is going to be the simulated universe, because this one is the next one I wanted to cover, because this one is part of the end game. But honestly, this isn't too challenging. I think the one I ran through just earlier yesterday was this one here, which is Kafka. I've just unlocked the level 3 difficulty, which is a level 80 enemy boss. I had no issues in this one, just cruised through it. All my characters still level 70, except Dan Hung at level 80. Still on pretty poor gear. My traces aren't very upgraded. So I think with the simulated universe, as long as you have a decent team formed, I don't think it's going to be too much issue. I don't think this is supposed to be like your end game massive challenge. There is one difficulty left, and I think this just falls into the category the same as the gear farming, which is this one. When you use your stamina to go for gear, it's going to give you 1 piece and a 50% chance at a second piece, and then this one should give you the 2 pieces it drops. But what I'm thinking is this is going to be harder than standard gear farming, but it's not meant to be like that end of all be all challenge that you can't do, because at the end of the day you do need to farm this gear. So I think that's sort of where they're putting it, harder than gear farming, which is just an absolute piece of piss. And then this is like your next level up, like more difficult gear farming. Maybe you farm for your 4-piece sets, and then you can come over here if you're struggling. And then when we look at the final thing that we have in the end game, obviously we will have events and stuff like that, but the big one, and this is this is the true end game at the moment. Like I said, I'm hoping for other end game features, but we will have to wait and see. But it is the chaos memory, memory of chaos. So I just call it chaos memory. So as you can see here, I've cleared the first 5 floors. I am not getting 3 stars. There's no way I'm getting 3 stars at my gear trace upgrade level at the moment. And this is the one where you really want to get those stars. So this is going to be the progression, and this is where pulling good 5 stars is really going to help you, because it means you're going to be able to do this stuff faster and start getting this gem income faster in your game. I definitely think eventually we will be able to do all this stuff with just free-to-play units, like just 4-star units. As you can see on my account, I've only been using 4 stars, but it does get incredibly difficult, especially when we get into this stage. I might just put something on the screen. I recorded myself running through this one. I almost got through this one. I died on the final wave of the second enemy, but these become incredibly difficult, and this is only level 6 that we're at, and it's only going to get more difficult as we get into level 10. Now, the crazy thing for this with it using only like free-to-play units is you're really going to have to heavily rely on March 7th and your fire main character to help out one of your teams, like either one of them or both of them, just because you've only got one free-to-play healer in the game at the moment, and then for the others, you're just going to be absolutely boned. But keep in mind, as we go further on, you're probably not going to need 2 healers, hopefully, maybe, I don't know, we'll have to see what the harder stages get like, because to get 3 stars, you're going to have to complete these in a certain amount of cycles, and to get this one in full stars, you're gonna have to do it with 24 cycles left. I failed with 3 cycles left, so this does get incredibly difficult, but once you get better gear, higher levels, better light cones, better traces, everything like that. Hopefully you'll be trying to speed clear them, and instead of the difficulty being just clearing this stuff, it will become how quick can I clear it to get those stars, because the stars are what allow you the gem income, whereas only clearing them just gets you a few resources. So this really difficult. I think this is going to take like at least 6 to 12 months for most players to be getting full stars. Maybe a bit quicker if you get some good 5 stars. But in general, I'm thinking 6 to 12 months is going to be the average range of when people start being able to clear this with maybe, you know, like 25 plus stars. So that pretty much covers my insight into what the end game of Honkai Star Rail will look like. But what do you guys think? I personally hope for 1 or 2 more endgame modes that, you know, you can do quickly or you can invest more time into. I really love the way they did the second event, which I made a whole video on in this one. In this beta, it was absolutely fantastic the way you could spend a lot of time in it to maximize it, or you could just brush through it and not stress too much. I'd love to see some more endgame modes that really don't force you to play it every day, but if you've got a day with some time, you can grind through, kind of like the Memory of Chaos, where, you know, you don't have to play this every day. It's just when you get the chance over the 2 weeks, you can jump in there, push it. I'd love to see 1 or 2 other endgame features like that, but that is me personally. I know some people like it more casual. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.